Okay, so hopefully you've given this one a try. So when I look at this example, and I'm going to add midline in here, okay, I'm again going to start by drawing out my shape. I have a cosine curve. I don't have a vertical reflection, which means like my cosine is going to start at the maximum, return to the maximum. So my cosine curve looks something like this. I'm going to start by drawing that curve. Now I'm going to calculate all these key features. So my A value is 3, which does tell me my amplitude is 3, right? The absolute value of that A value gives me my amplitude. My period, I don't have a B value, so my period is still 2 pi. A phase shift, remember that's a shift left or right. We would see that in the C value. We don't have a C value, so we don't shift left or right, so a phase shift of 0. We do have a vertical shift from that D value, so we are going to shift down 2. Our midline here, because we're shifting down 2, instead of our midline being at y equals 0, it's now going to be at y equals negative 2. My domain is still going to be negative infinity to infinity. And now we have to take a minute to calculate our range. So normally, we would have a midline at 0 and an amplitude at 3, right? And we'd go up 3 and down 3. But now, the midline tells us we're at negative 2 instead. So we're going to shift from 0 down 2. So that means our maximum going up 3 from that is only going to be at 1. And our minimum is only going to be, let's see, we're at negative 2, and we're going to go down 3, so that's going to be at negative 5. Now, a lot of people don't always need to think about this as a shift. Like they can just jump straight to, here's my midline, how far am I going up from that, how far am I going down for that. But if it helps, you can always start by drawing out that initial, where would you be at if you had the midline of 0 and then shift everything down. So I can see that my range goes from negative 5 to positive 1. So when I put my y-axis on here, I want to make sure that all of that I just described can be seen. So I'm going to make sure that I go up to 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to negative 5. Now my x-axis, my period is 2 pi, and I'm still going to divide that into fourths, so I have pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, okay? And then when I go ahead and draw this, I want to draw in that midline again. That midline is here at negative 2, so I'm going to draw that in. Okay, and then I'm going to draw this shape. I'm going to refer back to the shape that I sketched in for myself. So my shape, it starts at the maximum. So here's my maximum. Okay, then to the midline, then to the minimum, back to the midline, back to the maximum. Now don't forget, when you draw those arrows in, it should not look like they are extending beyond 1, right? We know that y equals 1 is the maximum, so make sure that those arrows don't give you the wrong impression.